Okay? So they don't have enough books. The school will not provide a budget, so you can't buy books. The teacher has to carry the books to class. They cannot manage borrowing and return. What happens? Books disappear. When I started doing extensive reading, I had the books outside my classroom. And the students came, not outside my classroom, sorry, outside my office. They would go, they would find the book, they would write their name on a sheet, and when they were finished, they would return the book and cross out their name, okay? I lost 200 books every year, okay? So you have to have an effective management system, and having them take a book and sign for it does not work. Books are lost and damaged. Then of course, the problem students don't read. You say read, but they don't. Students copy the feedback report, okay? If several classes are using it with different teachers, students will lend their report to a student in another class. The teacher will never know that he really didn't read the book. And then for the teacher, too many reports to check. So that's one of the comments of teachers when they start using M-Reader is, hooray, no more book reports to read. Okay. So very often, one teacher really believes in extensive reading. They will spend the time, maybe they will spend the money to get the books. When I was in Dalat, some teachers were using M-Reader there, 2 teachers, and to start using it, they had to go to Ho Chi Minh City and buy books. They had to use their own money. And they tried it for 2 years and gave up. Why? They didn't have enough books, okay? And so they found it was just too difficult. But if one teacher believes and persists, then maybe other teachers, well, no, other teachers very often could not be bothered and say, well, you do that, that's fine, but I'm very busy. I have other things in the classroom. I can't take the time. I don't want to carry books to the classroom, and so forth. So they're too busy, they can't expend the effort, and sometimes they don't believe it works. So the key to getting a program started is the administration needs to require it. This is difficult to do though, because someone who is important in your school needs to believe that extensive reading will really help the students improve, okay? So many teachers don't use extensive reading because they don't believe in it. The mindset. Most teachers teach their students like they were taught when they were students, okay? And it's basically examination oriented. That 25%, they're childish, they're not serious, they're too easy. And if the students are just reading, I'm not teaching, right? So that's not good. I'm a teacher. They should read authentic materials. Authentic means books written for native speakers. And also, they're having a test. I have to teach so they can pass the test. So, how can you answer that? First, you have to choose books that are at the student's fluent reading level so they can read them easily. Otherwise, they can't really understand them. Intermediate learners can't read intermediate rated readers very often because they are not intermediate really. Maybe they're intermediate for taking an examination. That doesn't mean they can read fluently at the intermediate level, okay? Extensive reading is learning, okay? Our job is to help the students learn, not to teach, okay? We teach, but very often they do not learn, right? And native materials are too hard, they're demotivating and inappropriate. They don't enjoy them, so they stop reading, okay? And research suggests that students learn better with holistic learning, okay? So they're not learning specific grammar, specific vocabulary, but they're reading something that uses all of their skills. So it's easier to implement a program if it's not just you, this one teacher. Maybe you're not that fat, it's okay. But all of the other teachers in your school are using it too. So very often, when extensive reading starts, it's like this. Here are the years of your course, And inside year 1, there's course 1, course 2, and course 3. And different teachers maybe try extensive reading in different classes, but only one is doing it at any one course. So this is pretty random and not so effective. What you really want is this, where in a specific course, the administration says everybody does it, okay? This is fair to the students. All the students are doing the same work. All the students are getting the same benefit. Sometimes, if one class is doing extensive reading, the students in the other class hear about it and say, why aren't we doing extensive reading? And the teacher says, well, I don't have the time. We don't have the books, okay? But if it's at the administrative level, then they can say, everyone in this course should be doing it. You make it a formal part of the curriculum, okay? So how do you start in your program? Of course, you have to buy books and the levels for your students that they can read fluently, easily. They have to choose something that they can read, that each individual. You have to have a wide variety of materials. They need to be put into difficulty levels so students can find ones quickly. So I showed you in my table there are 10 levels. Each level had a different color, okay? And in our library, all the books are together of the same color. So the students can find them easily, and also the librarian can put them back again in the correct place. If you're doing it for your own class or something, you need some sort of numbering system, you need to have a borrowing sheet, and you need to get the students used to extensive reading by having them do it first in class with something which is very, very easy. Okay, so that they can read a book and finish it and understand it 100%. Okay, that means very often, even if a student has a high ability, they should start with an easy book very often, because we found that if they start with something that's very easy, they will not translate into Vietnamese in their head, because it's so easy. So they will lose the habit of translation, and slowly they will go up in ability and will not translate anymore. Okay? And everyone can do the same story first, but of course, if that's true, you need to have copies of the book for everybody. Okay? And then you do them in class for a while, and finally you show them the library of books, and they can take them home and discuss them the next week, and so forth. So we do this at my school. At the beginning, they do some extensive reading in class so they can learn how to do extensive reading. We can check they're not using their finger like this to follow the words. We can check that they're not using the dictionary. If they're using the dictionary too much, then we go, oh, that book's too difficult for you. Why don't you choose an easier book? So, what happens? You don't have any money? Well, of course, you can get the students each buy 1 or 2 books if they're available. If you go to Ho Chi Minh City, the bookstores there have them. You can also order them from Amazon.com, Singapore's Amazon site, and have them sent. But if the students buy 1 or 2 books, they can share them. And when they finish reading it, they give it to somebody else. And then when they're finished, the term is over, you say, okay, you don't want to read it again, give me the books. And now you have a small library. And then the next term, you can have them buy different books, and now you can slowly build your library that way, okay? But the school will be much more willing to allocate money if they see that your extensive reading program is a success, okay? So the object is to get the school to pay, not you or your students. So in order to do that, one thing is to give your students a questionnaire, so you have some feedback. So you can prove that they like extensive reading and they feel it is worthwhile. And then you can share the results with the other teachers and the administrators, and maybe that will help get extensive reading started for the whole curriculum. And then there are problems with books and management, okay? So the cooperation with the library or self-access center is essential. If the library is managing it, then it's not your problem anymore. So when I started, I told you I had the books outside my office. I was losing a lot of books. And I didn't really like that, but I wanted to bring them to the library and say, I went to the library and said, can you keep these books in the library? I'll just donate them to you. They refused. They said, well, if you give them to us, we'll put them in the basement. Students will not be able to see them easily because we have no room upstairs for them. Okay. So it took me a long time before the library finally agreed. You know why? The head librarian retired. The next person was much more cooperative. So finally, I got the books in the library. The little red mark, you can see many of them have a red mark on them. That's because we had maybe 5 copies of the same book. The one with the red mark cannot go out of the library. The other ones can be borrowed for a short period of time. And one other thing which might work at your school is we did not ask the library to buy these books as regular books for students to borrow. These we put in what's called the reserve book section. Most courses at most universities, the library has a budget for you to put some books in the library for students to maybe read one chapter in or something. You don't want the students to buy them, but the students have to read part of the book for their homework, okay? Those are called reserve books in English. And so we use that system because there was a separate budget, and if it's a reserve book, we knew it had to be on the first floor of the library where students could access them. It wouldn't go down in the basement. And so we use that. But unfortunately, it's not ideal because they put the books there by the number on the book, the call number of the book. So different levels were mixed. So finally, I already mentioned this. Finally, the library decided to do them by levels. So here you can see the same table that I showed you. Here it says level 2, level 3, over here is a different level over there. And so all the books at the same level were together in one section. So then it was easier for the students to find books that were suitable for them. But actually, we ran out of space. So now it looks like this. This is half of the books. From here to here. There's another half that goes the same distance down the other side. It's the entire side wall of the library. Fortunately, there were windows there, and they built another building just next to it, so the windows were useless. So they decided, oh, we can put the extensive reading books there. You can still see the level signs and the table. So what happened? The blue here is 2008, and we didn't have so many students doing extensive reading. The next year, I was head of the general English program, and we made all 3,000 students do extensive reading. And so the number of books borrowed went up very high. The library was very happy because these days the libraries aren't getting too many customers because people have their smartphones, okay? You can get a lot of information here. So the library now actually loves us. If we want more books, they buy them right away, okay? Because it brings people into the library. And the librarian said, not only are they borrowing those books, they're using the other functions of the library too, okay? So it's getting them into the library, and they're finding out how useful it is for their study and fun. And then student management, I already mentioned this to you, okay? So this 10% at the top, they aren't our problem. They will study anyway. And probably all of you are in this top 10% because you came today. If you're in the 80% here, or definitely if you were in this, you would not be listening to English, okay? So the problem, the challenge for us is how to get this 80% to do the work, Okay? These we don't have to worry about. And that's why you need to have some way to push the students. And that's why you need something like this. Okay, now, I don't have to go through this again. I have these on here for another talk. So, this one is important though. So, the outside reading requirements we mentioned in the syllabus, okay? So, you have to plan, okay, next term or next year, it's going to say all students must do outside reading, and it's going to count for 20% of your grade or more. It has to be part of the grade. Otherwise, students will not do it. If you say it's worth 5% or 10%, they still will not do it. Because they say, even if I don't do it, I think I can still get the credit for this course. Okay? 20%, they start to get very serious. Okay? But in our case, if you don't reach the minimum requirement, you fail the course. Okay, I can do that. We can do that at my university. So I have 120 English majors, and all of them do the minimum. Okay, they all will read 500,000 words in the first 2 years, because each term, if they don't do the minimum, they come back the next year. So maybe you cannot do that here, but the stronger you make the requirement, the more you can get them to do it. And I've also mentioned this already. So the more you require the students to do, the less they, for teachers, the more you require teachers to do, the less they will be their cooperation. Central management relieves the pressure on the individual teacher. That's why for M-Reader, one person in administration sets it up, enrolls the students, makes the passwords. The job of the teacher is just to check each week and say, you, and you, why aren't you reading? Okay, so that's this. Okay, monitor students' reading, encourage them to continue. You can also talk about books, say, I read this book this week and it's really interesting. Maybe somebody would like to read this one too. Okay, and then of course they have to calculate the students' final grades. In M-Reader, you can download an Excel file with all the grades. Okay, so the administration can provide the student results. Then the student doesn't even have to download the results. The teacher just has to put the class grade in and they get the final grade. So the easier it is for the teacher, the more they will cooperate. Okay? And then slowly, teachers will buy into the system. They'll realize, my students like this. I can see they're reading faster. So slowly this will happen. Not all teachers, but some of the teachers. Okay? And so it needs to have an effective tracking system. And I mentioned M-Reader already. I also showed you X-Reading. It also has a good tracking system so you can see the results of the students easily. But there's a small per student charge for it. And so at the curriculum level, you need to decide to do it. You need to incorporate extensive reading into the syllabus. You have to tell the students about it. And as I said, the teachers maybe very often are not interested in extensive reading. So what we did at my school is first we told the teachers, because they have to make the syllabus, put these sentences in your syllabus. And one of them says it's 20% of your grade. And then we made a sheet, and the sheet was given to all the students by the teachers. And it said what is extensive reading, why it's good for you, where to borrow the books, how to take quizzes, how it's going to affect your grade, etc. So all the information was there. The teacher's job was only to give that to the students on the first day. Then the teacher didn't have to do anything except check. Okay? So, supplying results to the teachers for their evaluations. So if you're going to have an effective extensive reading program, you need to have unlimited access to readers for the students. You need to train the students on how to do extensive reading effectively. You have to have a good way to check the students' progress. You have to implement it across the entire curriculum. You need the cooperation of your teachers, and you have to enforce the requirements, okay? If any of these things are missing, then the program doesn't work well. So this is the problem. How do you get there? It's sort of a chicken and egg situation. Okay, so it takes a lot of difficulty to do that. All right. Now, quickly, I have a quiz for everyone. Let's see. What is extensive reading? Okay, so now, see how well you can answer these questions now. Choose the right answer or answers. How much should students read? Just what the teacher tells them to read. As much as they can read carefully. As much as possible, even if they don't understand it all. Okay, ready? Okay, as much as possible. It's not necessary to understand it completely if they enjoy it. What reading material should they use? Your textbooks, English novels, newspapers in English, graded readers, materials in easy English, online material. The others are useful for upper level readers, for intensive reading in the classroom, but these three at the bottom are useful for extensive reading outside the classroom. Who should choose the material? The teacher or the student? The student for extensive reading. The teacher for intensive reading, okay? In the class, everyone is doing the same thing, so you can't ask the students to choose. You need to choose. How difficult should the text be? A little below their current reading level. Just at their current reading level. A little above their reading level to challenge them. Text for proficient readers, okay? Native speakers or people like you. The top two, okay? They should be below their reading level or at their level. If it's below their level, then they don't have to look up any words in the dictionary. They can read quickly. They can finish the book, get another book, and continue reading, okay? That's what we want them to do. How fast should they read? At a slow pace so they can catch every word and stop when they don't understand. Or as rapidly as possible, even if they don't understand some things. I think you know the answer. Okay? As rapidly as possible. But it's the teacher's job to select the reading material, to set reading targets in either books or words, to track how much they have read, to check they understand completely, to prepare follow-up activities, to encourage them to read by setting a good example. Okay, so intensive reading, you can select the reading material to check they understand completely, also for intensive reading. I said in M reading we have quizzes, but actually the quizzes are not to check if they understood completely. We made the questions easy. So the reason for the questions is to check that they read the book or not, okay? Not if they understood it completely. In fact, we don't even tell them their score at the end. We just say, you pass or you fail. Okay? The teacher can look at the score. This student got 85%, but not the students. Because our students, the mindset is, I have to get 100%. If they get only 85%, they will think they failed, okay? They were not successful. We don't care. If they get above 60%, we say, okay, we know you read the book. Fine, read another book.
But my brother's students, they seem to like the follow-up activities a lot. It's a way to encourage them.
Follow-up activities are fine, but each student is reading a different book, so you can't have follow-up activities as a class. Many of the graded readers actually do have activities in them. We tell the students to ignore them, okay? Just so they can read quickly. The reason for the follow-up activities is some students do want to see how well they understood. But also, the publishers want the book to be used two ways, as extensive reading and as a class reader, in class.
So they put the activities in there so teachers can use it for intensive reading if they want. And it can also be used for extensive reading by ignoring the activities. Where should the students read? In class? On the bus or train? Notice I didn't say or motorcycle. Or at home. All are possible, but in class actually it's better to do intensive work, right? If the students are reading quietly in the class, somebody may say, she's not teaching. How lazy she is. Okay? How should the students read? Individually? Together as a class? Out loud? Silently? Oh, I showed you the answer. Anything except out loud, really, okay? In class, reading out loud is effective. You can check their pronunciation. You can see how smoothly they're reading and so forth. But again, everybody is reading a different book, so it's hard to do for extensive reading. Okay? So now, do you understand what extensive reading is?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. All right. That's all I have for you today, for this morning. Thank you very much.